Governments around the world have been presented with tremendously good opportunities to negotiate strong, growth-inducing free trade agreements bilaterally, regionally, or globally for the past 10 years. But they have wasted those opportunities. In many different sectors, I think you can see an enormously strong case for trade for this sector, for instance. But we haven't really seen much going on the trade policy front, which has released those opportunities so far. And when I look at the discussions on TTIP, I think it's a fantastic opportunity to not only address some of the remaining concerns on all type of trade issues like tariffs, but also to start a conversation and a policy development where you can rearrange the global map on regulations in a way that is going to open markets to greater cross-border commerce and cross-border integration. When I look at the pharma sector more generally from an international economic viewpoint, I think the story is roughly the same. A strong case can be made for more trade, for more market access, for more integration, but trade agreements have not been designed in order to generate those gains. If you look at IP issues, for instance, the IP compliance agenda, ever since the Uruguay round which closed in 1994, we've lived with the TRIPS agreement, which is roughly the main standards for intellectual property in the world, in the trade policy world. And ever since then, we've been on a downward slope in trying to erode the quality of the TRIPS agreement in order to, accommodate other different sort of societal preferences that exist. What we have right now is basically trade agreements for the era of aspirins, but not trade agreements which are conducive to modern technological development. And let me just end on a point how I think this and the trade story more largely fit into the sort of broad health care developments, fiscal developments that we're going to see in especially the Western world. In many healthcare sectors around Europe, stagnant, if not falling, productivity growth, especially on the labor productivity side, we're seeing many countries having huge problems with hiding different sort of debts in the system. And of course, we're seeing a development where the larger organization of this economy is not adapted to take up new technologies and basically diffuse them in a way which raises output, which raises productivity in a good way. I think we need to find ways to think about trade policy developments which are going to open up this sector much more for trade, for cross-border integration between hospitals, between patients, between professionals in the system in order to reap the gains that we know exist from trade.